All right, look, it's the Duhcast. James Ellsworth and myself. We're flying solo, just him and I, talking about all your burning wrestling topics this week. But first, I want to tell you about Blue Chew. It's going to be a quick ad. Listen, it works. I know it. I've used it. It is an amazing product. We only promote one product right now on the Duhcast, and that is Blue Chew because it works. I believe in it. Ladies, listen, if you're listening, this takes your man to a whole different level. He can chew it, hop in the shower, come out. He's so fresh and so clean. Get in the bed, do the job. You're the world champion. It's amazing. I'm not even throwing out crazy wrestling references this week. It works. It's a chewable tablet, twice as fast as a blue pill. Same FDA approved ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. You can order it online. It's made in America, which means it's cheaper. You can get your first order for free. Men free. Listen, free for your first order. All you have to do is use the promo code Ellsworth. Do it. Because if you don't, they don't come back. We don't get money. Dennis is sad. You don't want to see sad Dennis, do you? You want to see happy Dennis. Happy Dennis is a fun podcast, Dennis. Happy Dennis. So go to Blue Chew. Order it. Turn my frown upside down. You will turn your boyfriend, husband, significant other's frown upside down. Because, look, maybe they had a little rust spell in the bedroom. And it's, not as potent in the bed as he used to be, whether it's old age, stress, everyday stress. Blue Chew turns that around, guys. It really does. Blue Chew is a magic chewable. It really works. So go to bluechew.com, type in the promo code Ellsworth, get your first shipment free. Just pay $5 for shipping and handling. I know you have $5. I was actually, truth time, and I'm sorry. I was actually this morning while you were sleeping in your wallet and your purse. I wanted to make sure before I recorded this ad that you had the $5. And I saw it and I didn't steal it. Look, you can go back and check. It's still there. But truth time, right? We're in the circle of trust, the treehouse of truth. I just want to be honest with you. So yes, that was me. You might have heard rummaging in your purse and wallet, and I did find the $5, so I am talking to you. Go ahead, pat your purse and wallet. Go, did he? No, I didn't take it. I just checked. That's what friends do. All right. So there's this week's Blue Chew ad. Go do them. Do them. I turned into Beavis there. Sorry. Anyways, BlueChew.com, promo code Ellsworth, $5 shipping handling. You make everybody in this ad happy. Me, you, your significant other, Blue Chew. It takes $5 to make like 8 people happy. So go do it. Here we go. James Ellsworth, Dennis Farrell here for another Duhcast. James, hey, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, Dennis? James Ellsworth on the Duhcast. I know people are happy to hear my voice after they listen to your boring introduction that we have to listen to each and every week here on the Duhcast.
I'm making it shorter and shorter every week for you. So there we go. I'm doing what I can.
And I think I should start doing the Blue Chew commercials because people think about you using Blue Chew makes them not want to use it. I think it turns them off to the whole process.
God bless you, James Ellsworth. God bless you. By the way, let's start with you were on a pretty big show this week. I taped it, I believe, this afternoon. Should air, the same day we dropped this episode, the Taz show.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, talk to Taz. Taz is a guy that obviously wasn't at WWE the same time I was, but a guy I have a lot of respect for, ECW legend, and it was cool to chat with him on the Taz show today. Can't wait to everyone to hear it and get me their feedback.
And from that, we birthed our new show Twitter handle. Usually, just you and I tweet it out, and we go about our day. You text me and said, hey, I did the Taz show. I promoted our show Twitter handle, quickly go create one. So I went out and created one. So go follow us over at Duckcast.
Yeah, man, I have to like think of everything. Like, you're supposed to be the guy that handles all that, thinks of all that, but obviously, I have to think of everything and do everything and say everything and get every guest. And I don't know what you bring to the table, Dennis, but I'm going to figure it out one day. I swear I am.
Well, when you do, let me know. But we're going to do something different with our show Twitter. We're going to keep our DMs open. So if you have questions for the show, we don't have to follow you. You just have to follow us. You can DM us a question, and we'll get it to you guys. We have a ton of questions, actually, to talk about. More subject turned into questions. But yeah, the Taz show, where would you rank really quick, Taz, on, I would say, maybe wrestling announcers overall in the modern era? It wouldn't be fair to compare him to Gorilla Monsoon, to Bobby the Brain Heenan, any of those guys. But let's say modern day 2000s-ish, where would Taz land on your rankings?
Oh, I loved Taz as a color commentator. He was, again, another SmackDown character, such as myself. He was mainly based on SmackDown. And, I thought he was very unique and very different from the other color commentators, and I think he did a great job.
I would put him over JBL, which that doesn't mean I don't like JBL. I just think he was better than JBL. Definitely better than Michael Cole, in my opinion, just as a personality on the mic.
Well, Michael Cole's the straight guy, and the, like JBL or Taz, they're called color guys. They're the charisma, like Corey Graves is today, which Corey Graves is the best, man. I love Corey Graves. Shout out to him. Known him forever. Since the Sterling James Keenan days when he was on the Independents. Great guy, and I love the way he calls stuff. JBL, man, I used to love what he called my matches on SmackDown, because he would say the most off-the-wall things about me, and I found it entertaining, man, just like everybody else did. I don't like to rank people, either. To me, people are either good or they're bad, and Taz is good, JBL is good, and I don't like to rank people like that, man. It's just my nature not to.
A little inside baseball question for you, and I've always wondered this personally, and it's almost like baseball, where baseball players go back and watch the film. Do you guys ever really go back and watch the show just to listen to what the announcers say about you?
But see, me personally, I go back and watch the show and study film and see what I could have done better, and do better in the next match I have. And yeah, of course, you listen to the commentary, like I just said, and, and JBL again used to pop me. That's what we call make us laugh here in the wrestling business, or make us react. And every time I would watch one of my matches on SmackDown, he would say something so off the wall about me. It was great, man. I loved it. But yeah, man, like, when I go back and watch my matches, I like to study the film and get better, just like baseball players, football players, basketball players, any hockey players, any type of sports or activity. Actors do it, I'm sure, as well when they watch their films. And, yeah, you want to get better.
You make fun of me because it seems like I poo-poo everything a lot. I'm not a big fan of some things, but I'm going to start with a few things I'm fans of. There was one thing that happened this week in wrestling I wasn't, but I want to save that to the end of the podcast. But one thing I really liked this week was the shaved HBK hair job now, or lack of hair. As if you saw Raw, look, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels came out with a shaved head, and I really enjoyed it. It's something that I am a big fan of, the evolution of a character. And Shawn is getting older, and you really saw it this week on Raw. But I think the shaved head really adds towards the evolution or the look of the Heartbreak Kid character.
Well, just like every week, here on the Dogcast, I and everyone else listening and everyone that's going to tweet us about this would have to disagree with you. When we think of Shawn Michaels, man, we think of the long hair and him playing with his hair and the Heartbreak Kid, the sexy boy. And, Shawn is older, and he's the greatest of all time. He could shave his hair, wear a mohawk, dye his hair green, and people still love him because he's the best ever. But, yeah, I'll always remember Shawn Michaels for having the long, long hair, and that's just the way I always remember him no matter what.
This brought up a question that I wanted to ask you. Do you think it would have changed the trajectory of Hulk Hogan's career if he would have shaved his head. Because growing up as kids, we didn't really care about balding until we got older, and then we just kind of made fun of him or made fun of those kind of wrestlers that just kept the hair even though it was a detriment to the look of that character. Shawn Michaels was going a little thin on top. There was no secret there. And he shaved the head, and it looked good on him. Hulk Hogan, would he have still been Hulk Hogan with a shaved head?
Do you remember, like, in WCW for a little bit, he had, like, a buzz cut? Do you remember that?
A little bit. When you...
Nobody remembers that because it wasn't Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is bald on top, and just has long hair in the back. And, like, that's Hulk Hogan, bandana wearing with the long blonde hair. Like, that's Hulk Hogan, man. Who knows if it would have changed anything. He was still a terrific promo, a terrific character, can sell tickets, I don't think it had anything to do with the hair. But when you think Hulk Hogan, you think the bandana with the blonde hair and the bald head on top.
Absolutely. But you look at like a superstar Billy Graham, Hulk Hogan could have been a spitting image. And although he was a spitting image with the hair, but without it, if he went shaved, I just wonder if that would have added to that, or changed the persona a little bit different. Because look, there's a big difference between a balding guy and a balding guy who shaves his head and now he looks, and excuse my language, kids, badass.
Oh my God, excuse your language. You hardly said anything. Anyway, moving on, Dennis. You're boring me, and I'm sure you're boring the listeners, as you always do. So I'm going to liven up a little bit and just, talk a little cooler, talk a little louder, and let's move on to our next topic.
Next topic. This is something I read on the internet. I wish I could remember where it was, but it's the idea of the WWE raising the price of the WWE Network. I believe it came from the PW Insider. If it's not, I apologize. But it was talked about, and I believe it was what's those things where they pull you in at the mall and offer you $5? A survey. There it is. It was a survey from 2016 that kind of asked, would you pay a tier system in the WWE? Like there would be a free system, almost like Hulu. $4.99 a month would get you the WWE Network as it currently exists, with the exception of NXT and its takeover specials. And it would feature limited commercials and access to only the kind of the big four pay-per-views. Then there would be Tier 3 at $9.99, and that's what we know now and everything there. Tier 4 would be priced at $14.99. This version would feature commercial-free versions of the WWE Network with all current bells and whistles, live versions of NXT, the Cruiserweight Classics, access to independent wrestling content such as TNA and Ring of Honor, plus additional fan perks including ticket order access early, right to vote on the WWE Hall of Fame, offline content download, VIP meet and greets, and such as. Now, I would absolutely pay the $14.99 if it was keep it or lose it, because I love the WWE Network. Saturday nights when the family goes to bed, I'll sit up, watch old pay-per-views. I'm not sure if and maybe the Ring of Honor stuff would make me go to the upgrade. I do it anyways. I don't know if old TNA content would move my meter enough, even though PD's a friend of mine. But I think the Ring of Honor would. But as a fan as you are, if you were faced with $9.99, right now what we spend, you either pay $14 or you lose it. Would you pay the $14?
James Ellsworth on the WWE Network, all his great moments featuring Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, all the matches with AJ Styles. I mean, of course, it's worth the price of admission right there, $14.99. There you go, and that's my answer to that. Moving on to the next topic. Maybe I'm just bored of your voice, or I'm just getting really tired of you. But anyway,
but wait,
next.
You don't think there would be an outrage with fans if there was a price hike in the network?
I think they get so much good content on that network, all of those pay-per-views. It's still cheaper than buying one DVD of one pay-per-view, every month. it's a hell of a price, man. You get, and then again, you get a pay-per-view or every month. You get WrestleMania, you get Royal Rumble, you get Elimination Chamber, Hell in a Cell, whatever, Money in the Bank. Like, $10, it's a steal, and 15 still is a steal. If it was 20, it'd be a steal. When you get to probably like $30, it gets a little pricey. But it's just, right now, man, so much awesome stuff on there. It's worth the money for sure, in my humble opinion.
I agree with you, because I remember the days, and so do you, where I didn't get many pay-per-views, whether it was WWE or WCW, because they were $60 a pop, and then you had to wait. And I was not part of the tape trading collection world. That just kind of was outside my scope of what I thought the wrestling world was. So I would have to wait for one of my buddies to buy, the Halloween Havoc tape, 2 weeks later to watch it. So to be able to, get all this content for, $15, absolutely. In the amount of what I watch now on the network, as you said, the pay-per-views alone are worth it. And now that you can watch every single WWE pay-per-view that's ever happened, you can't pass that price up. And with everything they're putting out on a weekly basis, it's well worth it.
I just said that.
I know. I was just reiterating it because I had to kill time. I really thought this would have gone longer. Neville made his pro wrestling appearance since quitting WWE last year at Dragon Gate event in Japan. Neville went back to using his old name Pac. He joined the Red Stable. I didn't see this coming. I saw reports online that was like he's not returning any Booker's calls, which this makes sense now because we all knew he was either going to the UK or Japan. It was amazing to see him back in the ring. I hated to see him lose a year of his wrestling career due to something like this. And I get both sides. If you're WWE, you don't want to set the precedent of letting somebody walk away just like that. If you're him and you have a limited time, wrestlers are like football players. What'd you say, your bump card last week? You don't have an unlimited amount of time. Not every wrestler is Hulk Hogan or Macho Man Randy Savage. If you look at that wrestling industry, I venture to guess the majority of wrestlers in the whole scope of wrestling don't last 7 years.
Yeah, more often than not. Neville, he wasn't happy for whatever reason. I don't know the whole story. And he wanted to move on, and that's that. Like, me personally, I loved it at WWE, had a lot of fun. Neville wasn't having fun at the end of his run there, and he wanted to go. So I'm glad to see he's happy and wrestling again. He's a tremendous talent, man, very athletically gifted. Not many people can touch him in the ring, not even close. And I'm good to see him doing his thing again.
Once he did that heel turn into WWE, it was game over. He took his wrestling persona to a whole new level. He was one of those guys when he made that heel turn in 205 Live, and there were a bunch of them there, but he was one of those guys that I could believe could make a serious Intercontinental Championship run with that heel persona.
Oh, 100%, man. Again, he's very, very gifted, and that was the best thing that happened to him in WWE, turning the heel. He made the Cruiserweight title very important there. And, yeah, dude, he's just a tremendous talent, and I'm glad to see he's doing his thing again in Dragon Gate. And I think he'll make more people talk about that place again, and good for them and good for him.
Do you think you will start seeing a turn one day where you see, UK wrestlers just not want to come over to the United States, that they feel like they can make a name for themselves and a living for themselves with the way the internet is right now, if they just stay over in the UK?
I think you're seeing, slowly but surely, you're seeing a lot of that already. Just not only in the UK, just all over the world. Wrestling is getting hot again. Independent wrestling is getting very hot. It's the hottest it's ever been, actually. It's a big independent wrestling boom. So, a lot of guys don't want the schedule of traveling and being gone 220 days a year or whatever it is. And, to each his own. Like, I personally loved it, and some people don't. That's just your preference at the end of the day.
I talked about this a few weeks ago, I believe, with PD and Tyson Dukes. And I don't know if I actually asked you this question, but how long do you think the rest of this indie boom can sustain itself? I mean, realistically, at some point, it's the highest it's ever been. It has to come back down to a certain level, right? Or do you think this is the new level of what indie wrestling's gonna be?
Hopefully, man, it just lasts forever. But you never know. You can't guess these things. Like what goes up must come down, right? That's the old cliche. So if I had to guess, I mean, it's gonna come down a little bit, but it's so hot right now. I hope not, dude. It's really cool to see, and it's really cool to be a part of. And hopefully going forward, it stays like this because a lot of guys, even some guys that never had WWE television in their careers, are making a living off of wrestling, and I think that's so cool, dude. Like I myself haven't been contracted in WWE in almost a year now. Granted, they did bring me back for a little bit, but I've been making a living the last 11 months off of independent wrestling, and it's so cool. And hopefully, me and others will get to be able to do that for a long, long time going forward.
And I think you see a little bit more loyalty now with the boom of indie wrestling. There's money everywhere. What was it? Jericho, when we interviewed him, said there was like 5 billionaires in the wrestling industry right now. That number blew my mind. And with that kind of money being thrown around in the wrestling industry, whether you believe it or not, Adam Hangman Page, there were reports that he was offered a deal or approached about a deal about going to WWE, and he, I believe, politely said, the way I read the story is, "Thank you, but no thank you. I'm sticking with the Bullet Club. We're a family right now," which 10 years ago you wouldn't have seen that because the WWE will always and still be the major leagues, but now, if you're selling out minor league stadiums, there's no shame in being there now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Who knows if that's true or not? But if it is, again, like I just said, to each his own. Obviously the Bullet Club guys are doing tremendous on wherever they go, and he's a part of that. And it's whatever they want to do, they're going to be successful at right now in the business. And like you said, man, 10 years ago, more often than not, you wouldn't see that. You wouldn't see anyone turn down a WWE contract because there was nowhere else to go to make the kind of money you make in WWE. But this day and age, you can make a very comfortable living elsewhere, and that's what those guys are doing. So hats off to them again.
Now, I say that all to set up this question, and I don't know the answer. You've been around, you've seen it, you may have a better pulse or feel for this answer. But let's say, and I'm not saying good or bad, everybody in the Bullet Club signs a WWE contract and they're gone tomorrow. Well deserved, by the way. Not saying they don't or not saying they should. What kind of hit does that take to the independent circuit now when you lose that kind of creativity? Because assuming now being the elite will be done because the WWE wants to control their own content. There's not going to be another All In because these guys now are in the WWE. You won't see that again. What kind of hit does the independent circuit take with the loss of Cody in the Bullet Club?
Oh, it'd be like the Patriots losing Tom Brady. Like you lose they're the face of independent wrestling, and obviously what they have done, no one else has done before. I mean, they have shirts and Hot Topic. They're selling out arenas, and they're having YouTube channels, very successful ones, and they're doing it all, man. And that would be a big hit. My guess is, and this is just my guess, I haven't talked to any of those guys about it, but my guess is they're not going to go anywhere anytime soon. I think they're going to continue to do their thing, but that remains to be seen. Obviously, whatever they do, it's going to be the best thing for them, and they have put themselves in that position where they can do what they want, and good for those guys, man. Hopefully, I could get there someday where I can put myself in a position like that where you are a hot commodity and everyone wants you.
Do you think? And now the WWE fans will love them. Will the indie fans, and this is all hypothetical, of course, And I kind of feel like the indie fans will revolt against them if they all went as a group to the WWE, where they would get that "you sold out" tag. And by the way, I'm all for wrestlers making as much money as they can in whatever career, because Teddy Long said it, and I hate going back and quoting these podcasts, but they make sense. Tomorrow is never promised to you. He's seen many people come into the ring and many people stretchered out of the ring. He's seen some horrific stuff in the ring. Your career can end tomorrow, and that's why. And a lot of fans knock wrestlers for this. You know, the autographs, the having to pay for time, and all that stuff. But you know, if you guys don't do that this way, your house bill doesn't get paid. You don't have a 401k, so you have to start saving money. Every dime you make is a dime for your future, because you don't know when your bump card is up.
Absolutely, man. And yeah, whatever decision you make, especially the guys that have families, such as myself and the Young Bucks, they have families. They're going to make the best decision for their family first and foremost. And, you know, January is going to be a fun month in the wrestling business.
Let's talk about the WWE Super Showdown, I believe in Melbourne, Australia, this Saturday. If the time is right, it airs at 5 a.m. Eastern, I believe, right?
Yeah, I'll be sleeping.
See, here's the thing. I'm going to get up for it, and here's why. I really...
Blue Chew?
It Blue Chew.
That's the only way you're able to get up, from what I hear.
Oh,
duh.
Man. There you go. That's good. Hang on.
BlueChew.com. BLUE Chew. CHEW.com. See, I did a way better job promoting that website than you ever did.
That was
Go
great.
on, move on. Super Showdown this Saturday, 5 a.m. Eastern Time.
I'm going to get up because I really enjoy when there are events like the World Baseball Classic when it's held overseas, the World Cup when it's held overseas. I really enjoy the NFL when you get up at 9 a.m. and you're hanging out and watching an early game. There's something really cool about just getting up. It's dark outside in the morning and you're watching an event like this. So I'll get up and watch it live. Maybe not stay up, but I'll get up.
Well, that's cool, man. Well, I'm going to get up around hopefully 10 a.m. and then I'll watch it. But I'll be in Altoona, Pennsylvania this Saturday wrestling. But I have a show the night before in Hagerstown, Maryland. So I'm going to stay at a hotel in Hagerstown, Maryland, and I'm going to get up about 10 a.m. Saturday morning and maybe put it on my phone there. That's what I'm going to do, and I think that's what most people are going to do. But I think a lot of people are going to check it out. It looks like a hell of a show.
You bring up a hell of a show, and here's the one thing I wanted to wait to talk about, but here we are. The one thing I'm not excited about, and we've talked about this before, I like seeing Triple H come out as an authority figure. I love the way they use Shawn Michaels over the last couple years as a guy to set up angles. I like The Undertaker, but I think he's been a couple years, and we've talked about this on many podcasts, and now Kane is involved. I love these guys, and these guys had their time, and I get why they're here. You know, you don't go to Australia and not have these guys show up. Look, if this is anything like the Saudi shows, they're paying out their butts to get these talents. I understand that. But like in baseball and football, you don't want to see a 40-year-old Adam Jones trying to play baseball. You loved him when he was in his 30s. He was a phenomenal baseball player. Not many people can play baseball in their 40s. So to watch Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Kane, and The Undertaker go out there in a match that I'm not even quite sure. Are they fighting over respect or legacy? I don't even know. To me, it seems like a rushed, and I don't want to use the word poorly put together, because some of the promos have been magnificent. They're still amazing on the mic, but I don't want to see them in the ring because I want to remember the Heartbreak Kid with the long flowing hair. I want to remember, the undefeated streak of the Undertaker. But now these are the images I'm going to be left with in these guys' careers.
You can make an argument either way. But my thing is, and I think I said it when Jericho was on the podcast, like AC/DC or the Rolling Stones, or those guys are all older guys, but they're still selling out arenas playing music. It's kind of like how wrestling is, because wrestling fans and music fans are the most passionate fans in the world, and they want to see the stars they grew up watching, and that's what Triple H and the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels and Kane are. So more people are going to want to watch it than not, and that's why they're in there doing it.
But this will hit home for you. Cal Ripken Jr., he left at the perfect time in his career. If Cal Ripken were to have stayed around 2 years longer, now he's riding the bench, he's not playing every day, are you still excited to see him, or do you go, God, I wish Cal would have went at the height of his career because that's how I want to remember him?
Oh, man, no. Like, if Cal Ripken is riding the bench, and every now and then he gets, he pitch hits or gets in at bat, you get excited. Oh, there's Cal. He's gonna bat. Let's see what he did. Let's see what he does. You're still interested in it. Is the point I'm trying to make.
All right, so we're gonna agree to disagree, but can you at least concede that I don't have such a stupid point there at least this time?
No, there's some people feel that way. Like I just my humble opinion. I don't like. I'll sit there and watch the Undertaker and Triple H wrestle all day. Like, it's going to be a hell of a match, guaranteed.
All right, let's move on. Daniel Bryant. Listen, his headbutts, every time I see him deliver one, I am legitimately scared for the guy. I don't find myself enjoying Daniel Bryant matches like I used to. I find myself kind of worried about what's the next blow, and I don't know if there's ever been a wrestler that I felt that way about. Maybe, you know what? I would say maybe Chris Benoit, when he did the flying headbutt off the top ropes and he landed, I would kind of cringe because there was nothing good about that move. And now I watch Daniel Bryan in the ring, and I want to be excited. I think Bryant and The Miz could have been the feud of the year, but I find myself watching Daniel Bryant matches going, what's going to be the blow to his career? Because it's going to happen. There's always going to be something. And Daniel Bryant, watch him in the ring, I am more worried than excited right now.
Well, I think that'll pass. I just think it's fresh that he just came back from, the concussion stuff. And I think it's in the back of a lot of people's minds because it's still fresh. He's been back for less than a year. And, you're going to think that for a while. But, maybe if he wrestles for 2 or 3 more years and everything, is still clicking and going well and he doesn't get any more head injuries, I think people will, it'll kind of forget about it and move on and just enjoy Daniel Bryan in the ring, which I do, man. He's a tremendous wrestler. He's fun to watch.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not taking that away. I just worry for him. Is there a wrestler that you remember, whether you're a promoter or riding the indies or in the WWE, that you can remember that you find yourself, whether he's, family or a friend, you just worry when you watch him wrestle, like, man, is this it?
Well, like Shawn Michaels, when he came back from the back injury, he was gone for 4 years, and he came back. I was like, oh, man, I hope he doesn't hurt his back up. I remember thinking that, and I just had started wrestling when he came back full-time in 2002. And, I remember thinking, like, oh, man, Shawn's my favorite ever. I hope he doesn't come back and break his back again, or hurt his back even more. And, by 2005, when he was still going, I was over it.
I guess I can look back and think that. Maybe even Buff Bagwell after he broke his neck in the ring. I can remember. I can actually remember the night he came back and swerved everybody because he's in a wheelchair and we thought this was it, and he steps up and starts punching. Of course, I was a younger man, so I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. But I can even still remember worrying about Buff Bagwell's neck.
Yeah, man, it's injuries happen and they occur, and we're never going to get away from it. We're never going to have a year where somebody doesn't get injured in wrestling. It's just the way it is. You it could happen every time you go in the ring. It sucks. I say a prayer for every match, and because when you go in there, you're risking it, man. That's what you're doing.
Let's wrap this up. We've got probably about 10, 15 minutes here left on the podcast. Let's kind of
Oh, I
talk.
have to talk to you that much longer? God, I thought this was over. I thought that was it. I thought I was on my way to bed, but I got to talk to Dennis for 10, 15 more minutes. Oh, somebody give me my paycheck. Can I have my paycheck now, please? Oh, go ahead, Dennis.
Are you sure? Because I've just got two things in and out. We're moving on. We're gonna end this with Bully Ray, but let's talk about the Shield right now. And holy cow, what amazing booking they're doing right now. I was excited when they had the Shield versus, McIntyre, Braun, and Ziggler. I thought, wow, this is great. How can they make it any better? And now they throw in the whole, is Dean going to turn? Is he going to stay? Is he going to be a heel? He's shown these heel tendencies since he's come back. Though short hair, hasn't really talked much, has this look on his face. I tell you what, I don't even know where this angle is going to go. This is how exciting this is.
Oh, and that's the good thing about angles like this. You don't know where it's going to go. Obviously, it's like, oh man, maybe Dean will turn, but it's almost like they're making it too obvious that he will. So usually that means he won't, but you never know. It's cool. It's a good angle, and I'm excited to see where it goes as well. I had a lot of fun working with Dean Ambrose. I don't talk about working with him a lot here on this podcast. It's always Carmelo because I work for a longer extended period of time. But working with Dean Ambrose was an absolute blast. Let me just say that. He was so fun to talk to, and we rode together a couple of times, and man, every time I think about working with Dean Ambrose, I smile. It was just such a good time, and he was such a cool dude, and so I'm glad to see he's back. He missed almost a year of time due to an injury, and he's back, and he's hitting on all cylinders, and he's in this awesome storyline with the Shield, and we don't know if he's going to turn or not. It's cool stuff, but yeah, hats off to Dean Ambrose. I'm going to hit him up soon and see how he's, just to touch base with him because it's been a while. But yeah, man, going back to me working with him, it was so much fun. And that's one thing that I will bring up right now. I wish him and I worked together more in WWE. I think we worked together for 3 months. I really wish we had a longer run because I think it was a lot of fun for the audience as well.
I had fun watching it, and that was before you and I even got to know each other. We tweeted back and forth once or twice during that run. It wasn't until after you left that we really became, I'd use the word friendly. You would just say, I bugged you. So, but yeah, this Dean, normally, if you've been watching wrestling for as long as you and I have, you like to think you can see something coming a mile away. A lot of times it's recycled. And look, when it works, it works. Whether it works in the 80s, 90s, 2000s now, I still like it when a story is told good, whether I've seen it before or not. But I don't know. I've been trying to rack my brain, but I don't know if I've seen a story unfold quite like this since I can't even tell you.
Yeah, man. Well, we'll see where it goes. That's a cool thing. I'm really enjoying the Milwaukee storyline on SmackDown Live. I think that's real neat. So there is some good stuff. A lot of people like to rag on WWE, and it's because it is the major leagues, and they're on TV every week, and everybody's or their own a critic and all. But yeah, they got some good stuff going on right now. Some fun television, and I'm enjoying it. That's my humbled opinion, as I like to say here on the Duhcast.
The problem with the WWE is they've handcuffed themselves because they put out such amazing stuff over the history. They're the top of the food chain when it comes to wrestling, that they can be their own worst enemy with the success they've had. Not saying what they're doing is bad, but sometimes when you compare it, look, all the errors, when you look back, had their ups and their lows. The Attitude Era had highs and lows. The Reality era has highs and lows. The Aggression Era, which a lot of people kind of forget about, had highs and lows. Now has highs and lows. And it comes with part of the storylines. And you can't compare the high of an Attitude Era to the low of today's TV, or a low of the Aggression Era to the high of today's TV. You just can't compare it. Totally different stuff. Oh
yeah, it's all different eras, man. This is the PG era where a lot of people, they think things to heart, and you got to watch what you say, and you got to watch what you do. And the Attitude Era, they just didn't have to do that, so you can't compare the two. It's two different, times in the world.
And finally, let's wrap this up with Bully Ray. He is one of the greatest follows on Twitter. If you don't follow him, you have to follow him. He's on Busted Open Radio. I've always been a huge fan. He's one of those guys that it's really intimidating if you see him out and about. I don't know if it's really who he is or how he plays. I had the opportunity to meet him once at a Ring of Honor show with Petey. Petey kind of said, hey, just be a little careful. He has a reputation of if you say something he doesn't like, he will snap back at you. So through working in media with ESPN and all that, I've kind of learned when you're around people, you just keep your mouth shut. So we walk up to him, and he says, hey, Petey, how are you? They give each other a hug, and he goes, your friend, he looks familiar. Do I know him from somewhere? And I'm like, nope. We've never met, because the last thing I want is Bully Ray to mistake me for someone he maybe have hated, and I've got that kind of face. But with that being said, he put out something on Twitter, James, and once again, I'm trying to think. He calls himself the best natural heel right now in all of wrestling. I might have to agree with that, but I'm trying to think of natural heels right now. And I don't know if he said, I would just put right now. I'm not quite sure if I remember the tweet if he said ever, which I don't think you could call him ever. But right now, Bully Ray, the best heel ever, yes or no? Or best heel going right now?
He's so much fun to watch. I talked about a couple of weeks ago, his rivalry there in Ring of Honor with Cheeseburger. I enjoyed that. I kept up with that because I was entertained by it. Oh, the Miz is a great heel, man. They do everything right with the Miz. He takes the easy way out, and he tells you to your face he does that. I'll do anything it takes, and he gets under people's skin. The Miz is real good. James Ellsworth was a great heel on television. Let's just face facts here, ladies and gentlemen. James Ellsworth on SmackDown Live was a fun heel to watch. Am I right or am I right? So I'm not wrong.
Are you saying you're a better heel than Bully Ray?
Did I say that, you idiot? Did that come out of my mouth?
I'm just asking that question.
No, I was just naming great heels.
But
Bully Ray has a ton more experience than I do. I like to learn from him. He's a veteran. I would never say that. Don't put words in my mouth like that, or I will literally go to BWI Airport, get on a plane, fly to Detroit, come to your house, apologize to your wife that she has to live with you, and then slap you in the face, and then kiss your kid goodnight, and then get back home to Baltimore.
That sounds like something Samoa Joe would do right now.
No, wasn't that a good heel promo though? See what I mean? But no, Bully Ray, dude, he's up there. He's again, all jokes aside, I love watching him and what he does. And I actually saw him a few weeks ago in Philadelphia at a con, and talked to him and asked him for advice, and he gave me some good advice. And he was real cool to me, man. I've met him a few times, always been real nice, real fun to talk to, and he's very smart about the business. I love being around guys that are smart about the business, that have a ton more of experience than I do. And, and that's what I like to do, climb up the learning tree there from guys like that.
I mean, there's not a better teacher than Bully Ray on how to be a heel, if you think about it. And when he talks, he has to be one of those guys you find yourself, turning into a 12-year-old boy in the middle of class because you're glued to what the teacher's saying at that point.
Oh, the best heat I've ever seen was this past Monday on Raw when Elias talked about the Supersonics leaving Seattle there.
Oh, yes.
That was the best, man. They booed for 7 or 8 minutes straight. It was now that's how you be a heel. Some people will call it cheap heat, but hey, it worked. It worked for 7-8 minutes straight. I mean, when's the last time you saw that? Other than maybe Vicky Guerrero, who was a outstanding heel.
That when he said that, and you and I are both sports fans, and I think we both, the second those words left his mouth about the Supersonics, and Seattle is still sore about that to this day, I thought that right there is a highlight reel that we'll see 10 years from now when they're talking about Elias in his early days.
Absolutely, man. That was brilliant. I loved it.
All right, let's wrap up the podcast. James, tell me a little bit of where you're going to be this weekend.
Oh, it's a fun weekend, man. Returning to two towns I've wrestled in numerous times. Hagerstown, Maryland, this Friday for Adrenaline Championship Wrestling and Big Time Wrestling, a super show of our own, featuring Bret Hart, James Ellsworth, Big Kaz will be there, Scott Steiner, my little buddy Hornswoggle, Gilbert. You can go to btwtickets.com for that information. And then Saturday, we're heading up to Altoona. Same lineup, minus Big Kaz, who I think is going to be in Detroit. And, we're going to be in Altoona at the Jaffa Center. The Jaffa Shrine, I should say. Featuring Scott Steiner, Bret Hart, James Ellsworth, Gilbert Hornswoggle, Tito Santana will be there Saturday. Again, btwtickets.com for that info. Two awesome shows. Two towns, Hagerstown, Maryland, Altoona, Pennsylvania, that I've wrestled in numerous times over my career. I love those towns. Passionate, fun wrestling fans. Can't wait to go there this weekend. Shout out to my dude Grim, man. I don't talk about Grim enough on his podcast. Grim's Toy Show. Check them out on YouTube. I go there every Monday and film with them. We got to get Grim on the show sometime, man.
Let's do it.
Over 1 million subscribers. Yeah, over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Hundreds of thousand followers on Twitter and Instagram. Fun guy, family guy. Again, I'm very happy for guys that are family guys that are doing well in the business. Yeah, man, Grim's a good dude. He uses me every Monday, and I appreciate that.
Going back to Big Cass for a second, I had an opportunity to work alongside him over the last weekend, and I have to say, here's a guy who was nothing like what I expected him to be. I didn't, in a lot along the same lines, he was exactly what I expected him to be. He was quiet, he was very nice, humble, but he wasn't, he seemed a little bit, and I don't want to use the word nervous, because I'm not sure if he's ever done the indie scene as a career, or if he was, came in and went straight to NXT. I'm not quite sure or remember his path trajectory.
Do your damn research before you talk about things on this podcast. I got to teach you everything, literally everything. Like, I think I have to go back and teach you the alphabet, multiplication, adding, subtracting, how to cook an egg, like everything. I have to teach you everything.
So tell me.
You're going to pay me a lot of money to teach you all that.
Well, anyways, so the Big Cass trajectory, I'm not quite sure. But he seemed, I was a little shocked. He seemed a little bit, maybe even nervous. Very nice.
Probably just didn't like you.
I wouldn't have been shocked. But yeah, if you get a chance, go see Big Cass. He was absolutely nice. Remember, go over to WrestlingPerspectivePodcast.com. You can click any link there. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen. If you don't, if you listen from a browser, go to WrestlingPerspective.podbean.com. Our new Twitter handle, James, created just the other day. We need everybody's help. Go over there. Give it a follow, retweet us. This is where we're going to start doing the majority of our show stuff and questions for the show. It's Duckcast. That's it. Duckcast.
At Duckcast. I think we should follow each and every person back that follows us. I think that's fair.
Okay. Since I'm the one that's going to have to do it, that's fine.
I'm going to unfollow you on it.
Gosh, James, it's good to... And this has been a while since you and I have done a show, just you and I.
I know. I can't say that I missed it, but it has been a while.
All right. Duckcast, guys, this week. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for listening and downloading. We'll see you next week.